On today's show, the Phoenix Suns are undefeated with Kevin Durant in the lineup, a strong 3-0 start to his tenure as a member of the Suns. How has he integrated himself to the Phoenix Suns, and how have Devin Booker and Chris Paul adjusted their games accordingly to accommodate him? It's all coming up right here at Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, and welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA, the biggest stories with the local experts. I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, also host of Locked On Rockets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Next game, how about Luka Doncic to score more than 26.5 points? What about Giannis Antetokounmpo to have more than 7.5 rebounds? Or how about Kevin Durant to have less than 6.5 assists? Or maybe even Steph Curry to have more than 3.5 three-pointers made. So what is Prize Picks? It's daily fantasy sports, but how does it work? Basically, you pick 2 to 6 players, and if they score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 25 times back on your money on any entry that you submit. There's no competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you watch. That's NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA. They've got you covered for everything over at Prize Picks. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that simple. They're safe. They offer fast withdrawals, and they're currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, Prize Picks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, Prize Picks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code LOCKEDON at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. Joining us now is the host of Locked On Suns, Brendon, Kleen, who you can follow wherever you listen to your podcasts and on YouTube. Just search Locked On Suns. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Brendon, the Suns 3-0 with Kevin Durant in the lineup. KD with his best game as a member of the Phoenix Suns Sunday afternoon against the Dallas Mavericks. Two teams with some history there, a little bit of history. 37 points on 12 of 17 shooting, including the dagger to put Phoenix up by 2, and then the free throws to ice the game. Just over these first 3 games, right? Suns 3-0. I mean, how have you seen KD kind of integrate himself over these first, few matchups with the Suns?
It was as seamless as I think we thought in their normal offense, right? Durant is well known as one of the more malleable superstars that there is, and so I think that was somewhat predictable, but today was always going to be the biggest test. Whether even if he had made his debut right out of the All-Star break, Giannis didn't play when the Suns and Bucks had a matchup last Sunday on ABC. We knew this game was going to be the big one, and to see a close game down the stretch against a team we know Phoenix doesn't match up well with, to have Booker and Durant still have enough chemistry to not trip up on who takes the shot and all that kind of stuff, to both be efficient and effective, that was really huge. And so I think that was the biggest hurdle that we've seen. Because look, Charlotte and Chicago, those are nice games to get some reps and get your feet under you, but those are not really going to push a championship contending team. This was a test and they passed it.
And in this game as well, Devin Booker against the Mavericks wound up going 35 plus. He's gone 35 plus in each of these 3 games alongside Kevin Durant. What is having Durant out there on the floor doing for Booker?
Allowing him to score against one defender, right? Like, that's the special thing I think that you're seeing. It's Booker can make shots. Booker can make shots over 2 people. He can get past 2 people. He can get off the ball when he's doubled and make the right play and make his teammates better. He can do all of that stuff, but it's very hard and it causes turnovers, and it's probably not the recipe to win multiple playoff series, as we saw with them not getting over the hump with a ring the past 2 years. And so Booker is about as glorified of a second type of scorer as you'll see in the NBA right now, and he's just feasting off of the space and the attention that he's not getting. The space he is getting, the attention he's not getting, And yeah, he's been excellent since Durant took the floor.
Seeing some of that 1-2 punch in effect, against the Mavericks. There was a play at the end of the first quarter where, Suns are letting the clock wind down. Booker has the ball. He drives, and the spacing was just so beautiful because KD is over there off on the wing. And as soon as the help defender lunges a little bit at Booker on the drive, he knows he has that kick out to Kevin Durant, who just elevates, drains the three. And I don't know how teams are going to defend this, at all later on once we get to the postseason. What other ways are you seeing Booker and also Chris Paul kind of adjust their games accordingly now that they're playing with Kevin Durant in the lineup?
Yeah, it's easy basketball, I think, when it's at its best. And we saw late, it wasn't easy necessarily because the game was tight and they needed to just get something. And Durant hits that fall away jumper on the left elbow. But I think it was nice to see from a Sun standpoint that Booker being effective throughout. He was pretty much good throughout the game. He had some stretches where he went ISO a little bit heavy when he was out there with some bench lineups and forced some things, but he was awesome. Paul and Ayton, I think, are the two guys you look at, and it was nice to see that Paul had a jumper and a made three in that fourth quarter when they were kind of building back and taking the lead. And then Ayton to have that final tip dunk that he had, and he drew a loose ball foul. Those were both big moments too, because there were a lot of times last year where Ayton disappeared in the second round series that these two teams played. He just didn't make an impact on the game because they were playing small or because he just was disengaged, probably a combination of both. And for him to have very few shot attempts, only 6 attempts in this game, and still be able to finish up with a big play like that, Paul making his shots, that was all very good to see. You're going to want to get those guys more involved. Maybe it's a rotation decision. Maybe it's just more of a concerted effort by those 2-star scorers to share the ball with those two a little more. We'll see what it ends up looking like, but you didn't have a problem where Booker and Durant being awesome led to those guys being frozen out or disengaged or not effective. And that's pretty cool to see too.
Yeah, I'm really curious to know your thoughts. Like, Ayton in this game was phenomenal. 16 rebounds, but he was kind of, at times an afterthought offensively, right? Was kind of involved early on in the game and then just, how much of that is on Ayton for not making his presence felt versus the other 4 guys on the floor really looking to get him involved offensively? Or is this just simply a matchup thing, against the Dallas Mavericks?
No, I think it's going to be this way, in a lot of these games, honestly, Ayton has gotten the 5th most shot attempts, not even the 4th. We think of him as kind of the 4th star on this team, and he is, but it's really going to be a two-way factor for him because they're leaving whoever that 5th player is wide open. Josh Okogie took 13 shots, 8 threes, missed all of them. And then Ish Wainwright, who they closed with at their 5th spot, getting open threes himself, takes 5 shots and ties Ayton with 6 total attempts. And so that's just going to be a fact of life. There's going to be some games that naturally things flow to him. The pick and roll is open, more offensive rebounds, whatever the case may be. But I think he's going to have to find ways, and the coaching staff is going to have to find ways to keep him engaged and impactful, but he's just not going to get the 15 to 20 shot attempts that he might have been early in the season.
You talked about the importance of this win a little bit early on against this Dallas Mavericks team, right? Being kind of the first big test for this Suns team with Kevin Durant in tow now. But just how important was this win also just from like a tiebreaker perspective, right? With such a stacked Western Conference with, so few games separating the teams all the way from, 4 down to 10 in the West. How important was it for the Suns to be able to even the season series in the event that, maybe they are tied up with the Mavs somewhere down the line?
Yeah, that's big. And I think the other part is the Suns probably still feel like they can catch Sacramento for that 3 seed because they're only 2 games back now. Sacramento, I think, plays later on Sunday, but that's pretty tight. And they have 2 games left against one another, including next weekend on Saturday night. So I think that's probably where the Suns have their sights set. Yes, you want to maintain the 4 seed at least so you have home court in the first round and you never know what's going to happen from there. But getting to 3 would feel pretty good as well because you don't want to have to play Golden State, who seems to have a nice grasp on that 5th seed right now. So look, the Suns last year, they're saying Chris Paul's phrase, piling up wins. They did not do that for most of the year, but I think that that's what they're going to try to do during this integration process as well. Yes, you want KD to be comfortable, but you can't be losing. You got to do both.
How long will the Phoenix Suns stay undefeated with Kevin Durant now in the mix? Will we get a Suns-Mavericks playoff rematch this postseason further down the line? Of course, you'll have us covered for all of that and more over at Locked On Suns. Brendon, I appreciate you stopping by Locked On NBA with me.
Thank you.